Welcome back to Dicking Around Outdoors. One of the things that people always talk about when they're trying to get other people to go camping with them is they want to sleep well, and they're afraid they won't be able to sleep well in a tent. Now, my problem is not sleeping in a tent, but like so many of you, my problem is I use a CPAP machine. My solution to that a long time ago was that I would take a solo tent and the family would sleep in the big tent, and I'd shuffle myself off to a corner and people couldn't hear me snoring as well because I was yards away and in my own tent. Then I did a discovery on taking a portable battery and using my CPAP, and I did a video on that you can see here if you'd like to check it out. But at that time, the gear that I was using to be able to power my CPAP in a tent or in my vehicle where I don't have a large electrical system was to use a portable battery pack, and let me show you what I used at that time. When I did my first video, this was and still is my portable battery pack that I use when I go camping. It is a Bluetti EB70, and it worked great, and I use it to power my ResMed AirSense 10, and in order to do that, I had to have a separate power converter that I plugged into the cigarette lighter. It would convert the electricity from the 12-volt output to the proper electricity voltage for the AirSense, and it would run the unit for about 5 days. And that combination of the Bluetti and the AirSense 10 did a great job, but as you can imagine, it's pretty cumbersome, it's heavy, dragging it in and out of the tent every night. So about a year ago, after making that video, I decided to upgrade my CPAP. And what I did, in order to make it more travel friendly, is I got the ResMed Mini. And as you can see, this is the CPAP. It's a heck of a lot smaller and more compact than the AirSense 10 was. So this is what I've been taking with me, but I've been powering it with the Bluetti. So I'm still lugging the big battery pack in and out of the tent every day. Recently, a company reached out to me, a company called EasyLonger, and asked me if I would do a review of their new CPAP battery pack that's designed for travel, camping, power outages, that sort of thing. And I said, sure, I'd love to try it. So let's take a look at this battery pack and why I think it is a fantastic option for those of you that use CPAPs when you go travel. So I have to admit, when EasyLonger first reached out to me, I'd never heard of them. And I thought the name was kind of funny, odd in a way. But on the box they explain where it comes from. It essentially is Easy Charge Longer Power. That's what it stands for. That's where EasyLonger comes from. And what this is, and it's pretty impressive, the ES960 is a lithium iron phosphate battery, which means it can be recharged, they claim, up to 3,000 times. These are very long life batteries. And it's 96,000 milliamp hours. That's at 3.7 volts, I think, which calculates out to 297.6 watt hours. So it's a pretty impressive little battery pack from a power standpoint. Now, one thing I will point out before I forget, unlike some CPAP batteries, this one is not, it says on their website, is not TSA rated to take on an airplane. So just so you know that it doesn't have the TSA rating. So let's take a look at what comes in this box. All right, what we have in the box, we have the actual battery pack. And as you can see, it's pretty compact, relatively lightweight. It is a battery, so it does have some heft to it. It comes with a carry case, and the carry case is designed to carry a cord as well as having an opening where you can access the different ports without having to take the pack out of the case. However, there is one thing that makes that not really workable when you're doing the CPAP, which I'll show you. You have an AC power charger with a power converter, which will charge it from dead in about 5 or 6 hours. You also have a USB to USB cord, which is used to charge the unit up. And here's what makes this unit such an awesome tool for CPAP users. It actually comes with power cords 4 different models of CPAPs, the ResMeds, as well as some of the Philips units. If you actually go to their website, it'll show you what units are compatible with the cords that they provide. And these cords are all marked. For example, this one says ResMed 10. This is for the ResMed S9, which I don't know what it is. More importantly for me, the AirSense 11 and the AirSense, or the ResMed Mini that I've used. One cord will do both of those units, so no matter which unit I take, I have the battery pack. And this is for a Philips Dream system. So check that out. But let me tell you why that's important. Well, actually, let me tell you about the battery pack first, and then I'll tell you why these are so important. So starting off ergonomically, the unit comes with a carry handle. On top of the unit is a wireless charger for your phones. The screen and the on-off set buttons are on the front fascia. You have a flashlight, which has a flashlight as well as sort of a soft light, which I'll show you. And then on the end of the unit, you have all of the connector ports. The ports are divided into 2 separate units. This is the input side and the output side, as well as having 2 cigarette lighters, and I will say these are nice plugs. The cigarette lighter plugs in there and is very firm, that put out 12 volts. All right, for the inputs, you have a DC input as well as the USB-C that I showed you earlier. And this USB-C port is both an input and an output port, so you can plug things in here to charge them. On the output side, you have 2 USB-A ports as well as a DC out port, and this is, I think, where the magic is of this unit. On the screen, you have basically the power on battery check, as well as turning on and off the wireless charger. This is also the button used to turn on the flashlight. If you push it twice really fast, it gives you a flashlight. If you push it down and hold it, it puts on the kind of calmer, less intrusive lights if you're sitting around the campfire, or the camp table, I should say. The battery status level is 4 bars, which I don't think is optimal. I'll tell you why. And then you also have this button here, which is labeled V for voltage. And you hold that down and you can see you have different voltage levels that flash. And once you get to the voltage level you want, it will set. This is what makes this battery pack so unique, and I think really an awesome portable CPAP battery. So why do I say that that DC output port is so important? Well, remember on my earlier setup, I had to use that big converter block to change the 12 volt coming out of the cigarette lighter into the proper voltage going into my CPAP machine. With this unit, you can automatically set the battery pack to output the proper 24 volts. You plug the cord directly into the DC output that's outputting those 24 volts and plug it directly into your CPAP machine. So you bypass that entire converter block. And converter blocks suck up power when they're doing their conversion. The beauty of this is you're not burning that battery power making those conversions. It's putting it out directly. So, as I told you, the Bluetti would give me about 5 days of CPAP use without having to be recharged. This battery pack will do the same. In fact, when I tested it on the ResMed Mini, I got 29.75 hours out of it. And every night I was charging my phone on the wireless charger as well. When I used it with my ResMed AirSense 11, I did not turn off the humidifier, and I got 29.5 hours out of it. So I'm getting the equivalent usage time out of my CPAP machine with this 297 watt-hour battery as I did with my 700 watt-hour battery on the Bluetti. So that, I think, is what sets this apart and makes it so unique, is that for this little footprint, it will power your CPAP for quite a long trip. And as you saw when I scrolled through, it will put out different voltages depending on what you want and what your device needs. You just have to know what your device needs and set it to the appropriate voltage. Now, if you have a machine that's not compatible with the direct output, you can still plug your cigarette lighter and your converter into this using these cigarette lighter inputs, and you can power your CPAP that way. Now, I didn't do it to see how much it cut the time, but you should assume that it's going to cut some time off of that. At 300, I would say you're probably going to get 3 nights out, but that's just a guess. As I told you earlier, when it comes to charging this unit, it comes with an AC block, which says it will charge the unit in 5 to 6 hours. It comes with the USB-C cord that says 6 to 8 hours to charge it. And the other unique thing about this, and particularly for campers, is that if you have a proper plug, you can charge this using a solar panel. It says 100 watts or higher, and it has a built-in MPPT charge controller. So you don't have to worry about overcharging this. So that's another really cool feature about this unit. Another thing that I think sets this battery pack apart, if you go online and you Google CPAP portable batteries, you can get some nice small ones that are about the size of the ResMed Mini that will give you 2 days worth of power to your CPAP and are airplane compatible. Problem with those is they're about $340. So for the battery size, they're really expensive. I've also seen another battery pack that's similar in size to this online for $400. It does not put out direct DC power, so you have to use a converter block with it. And it doesn't come with any cords, so very expensive. This unit is list price at $299.99, and right now it's on Amazon for $239.99. It's on sale. I think that's a steal for this, for what you're getting and how you can use this when you're out camping. All right, so what do I think the downsides of this battery are? And they're going to be quibbles, because I haven't found anything that I would say is a deal breaker or something that would make me not recommend this. The first one is, when you set this for 24 volts, for example, for my ResMed Mini, you have to do that every time you turn it on. It doesn't hold that setting. So every night when you go, you have to go through the different voltage outputs. It's a 10-second job. It's not a big deal. It's just something you have to do every time. I would like to be able to have it just hold my setting. Number two, and more importantly to me, is I would like to see this actually have a battery percent charge that actually read the battery percent charge. Right now you have 4 bars. The first bar is 0 to 25%, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. What that means is, as you're getting to the lower charges, and this is what I did when I did my testing, so you could get more time out of this unit than I got. But when I got down to 1 bar, I stopped using it and charged it up, because I didn't know if there was 25% left in that battery or 5%. And I didn't want to get to the middle of the night and have my CPAP shut off. So I think I would much rather see a charge level that actually gave me number percentage. Another thing that I think could be improved is, even though each one of these dust caps is labeled with what units are behind it or what plugs are behind it, it's kind of hard to see. You sort of have to be looking right at it. If it's dark, you can't see it. If there would be a way that they could make that a contrasting color or something that would make it easier. I mean, after you've used it for a bit, you know where they are, but just intuitively, it could be easier to read, but that's not a deal killer at all. And the other thing is, as you can see, after I showed you the output setting, the light is still on. I don't know if you can turn that off. I haven't figured out how to do it yet. So those are just a few things. And again, nothing that I just said that I think could be improved would stop me from recommending this in any way. I think it's a great battery pack. And earlier I told you why I thought there was a bit of a limitation on this access point on the bag. As you can see, you can get to the USB-A's, a little more difficult to get to the USB-C, and you can get to one of the cigarette lighters. So it's useful if you are going to output and charge a phone or something like that. Where this is not helpful at all is you can get to the DC out port to power your CPAP machine, but you can't get to the button nor see the screen to set the voltage. So you have to take this out of the bag to use it for a CPAP machine to set the proper voltage anyway. So that's why I say this is helpful, but it is not 100% useful. These are just little suggestions for EasyLonger. Hey, if you're looking at redesigning this, you might think about these items. So again, if you use a CPAP and you travel, if you're camping, I think this would be a great choice for you to check out. I think it's a bargain given what else is out there. At right now, $100 less than a 2-day supply CPAP battery pack. You know, I think it's a killer bargain. At 300 charges, that's something else. Those $339 2-day battery packs are not lithium ion, so they can only be recharged about 500 times before the battery's gone. You get 3,000 recharges, that's a lot of nights. So anyway, again, the EasyLonger ES960, I'll put a link to it for Amazon below as well as the EasyLonger website. I think it's a great choice for anybody using a CPAP camping. As always, if you like this content, please take a moment to share it with your friends. Hit that subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner and give us a thumbs up. And we always appreciate your comments and strive to respond to anybody that takes the time to comment in the channel. And as always, take care, and we'll see you outdoors.